Good afternoon. Thank you for coming. This is the Grand National Education Forum on Hunter Jumpers. My name is Laurel Robinson. This is Fawn McDaniel, and we've been doing the Hunter Jumpers here for about 15 years. We have with us today's winners, both the World Champion and Reserve World Champion Hunters and the World Champion and Reserve World Champion Jumpers with us today. So the equitation over fences 17 and under champion. So I'll introduce them first. This is Susan Garmier, and she's on Wintergreen, Don Diego. He won World Champion Hunter over fences today. Reserve World Champion Hunter, come forward. Ridden by Kelsey Robinson is Melendi Cash Bonus. He was Reserve World Hunter Champion today. Back here with Amanda DuPont on the ground, because once she gets up, her horse is ready to go, is World Champion Jumper, and in a moment you'll see a difference between the Hunters and the Jumpers. And we also have the Reserve World Champion Jumper with Taylor Winstone, TMI Vigil, Flight Street Vigil. Okay. We're going to go ahead and start talking a little bit about the differences between the Hunters and the Jumpers. It's two complete different sports. We always say Hunters, Jumpers, but it is two complete different sports. In fact, there are some judges that judge only one or the other. Usually somebody gets their judge's card in both, but not necessarily. Could I have my two Hunters come forward first? The Hunter division is the stylist of the Jumpers. It's somewhat of a beauty contest. The way the horse moves and goes over the fence, how they move between the fences, how they go around the course. They should be very elegant, very stylish, very safe, relaxed looking. The tack that we use is a Ford Hunt saddle, and here there's a choice of several types of bits. We have a plain snaffle bit here, whereas this horse has a pelham in his mouth and also has a standing martingale. There's a selection of bits that are legal. Everything that is in the Morgan Hunter Jumper division refers back to the USEF rules, with a few exceptions. One being a little bit about shoeing, and the second being the heights of the fences for the divisions. Some of the other bits that are allowed are Kimberwick bits, or actually full bridles are allowed, but they should not be long shanked saddle seat type bits. Martingales are allowed in the Hunter ring, but they should be of the standing type. Breastplates are optional. We don't have one here to show you. Or this horse, who doesn't have any martingale or breastplate, is perfectly acceptable also. They both have leather girths, and the girth should be either leather-like, or string. Notice that both these horses have braided manes. This mane is a pulled 4-inch mane, braided in lots of tiny little braids, and that is a conventional Hunter open competition type of mane. He also has, you want to turn, the braided tail, kind of a French braid down the length. Again, that's kind of a conventional thing. In the Morgans, since we like to keep long manes if you're doing other divisions, and this is also a horse that shows in dressage and does very well. World champion, second level last year. so very versatile, which is one of our wonderful attributes of our Morgans. He has a roll grade, which I'm sure you're all familiar if you do other competition with. And I think they opted not to do tail, which is also perfectly fine. Okay, jumpers. Can we have our jumpers come forward for a minute? We'll just talk about tag a little bit. If the hunters are the stylists of going over fences, the jumpers are the technical experts. They are judged on speed and penalty points, and the penalty points come from either not making a certain time expected or knocking down fence rails. The jumpers are much more informal. This is perfectly acceptable attire. They don't necessarily wear coats. Their coats, of course, perfectly fine to wear also. They frequently don't braid the manes or the tails because style has nothing to do with how they score. In a moment or two here, you'll see the difference in how their way of going. Boots are allowed in the jumper division, either galloping boots, bell boots, polo wraps. Boots are not allowed in the hunters at all unless inclement weather, up to the show competition's discretion to allow for them, but I've never seen it. Here we have nice leather galloping boots and hind boots also. The pads can be, in the hunter division, they're always a shape pad matching the contour of the saddle, or no pad is also allowed. And in the jumpers, they have the square pad usually, but also a contoured pad would be perfectly acceptable in the jumpers also. Again, the jumpers tend to be just a lot more informal. There is some differences in bits that are allowed in the jumper division, and we don't have any here to show you. This is a full cheek snaffle. Here's a D-bit snaffle. But there are some differences in 3-ring bits are allowed, gags are allowed in the jumper division. There are some differences in the cavesins. All these horses have plain leather cavesins right now. But in the jumpers, you can have a figure-8 noseband, a drop noseband, or a flash noseband is perfectly acceptable. Martingales are allowed in the jumper division. They are usually, except for the very lowest divisions, a running martingale instead of a standing martingale. But as the heights and the prize money goes up, martingales eventually become eliminated. So that would be something that you would have to look at your USEF rules to know when you could or couldn't use them. Except for running's always allowed. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started on showing you how these horses should move. And I'm going to turn this over at this point to Fawn McDaniel, who will kind of give us a tour as these horses go through these jumps.
Hi, I'm Fawn McDaniel. We're going to start with the different types of jumps which are allowed or you are going to see in hunters versus jumpers. In the hunter ring, this line we have up the middle here, we have a vertical with the flowers to a matching oxer with the flowers here. Normally, in the hunter ring, you're going to see jumps that are supposed to be similar to those you would find in the open hunt field. They're going to be natural-looking jumps, usually more inviting jumps to the horses. They're going to be set at a distance usually related to a 12-foot stride. I believe these are set on a 4-stride, which is probably set about 60 foot. They give about half a stride for takeoff and landing is how that's measured. These jumps would also be perfectly fine in the jumper ring, but the other two jumps that we have here with the stripe poles and the bright colors are jumps you're only going to find in the jumper ring. We're gonna go ahead and get started with jumping, and what I'd like to have first is to show you the hunters. And what you're going to be seeing is, we'll be looking at the way they go. A hunter should be very free, the course should be free flowing. They should get to the center of the jumps, be fairly straight down their lines, and they should be using the space that's pretty much provided for them as much as possible. It should be a very smooth, even hunting pace. So why don't we go ahead, let's start with Wintergreen Don Diego, and we'll just have him, if we can, maybe either right or left lead canter, if you feel comfortable just coming down this line, coming through your corner. We'll take a look at our world champion hunter for this year and his way of going. You see she has a nice forward flowing canter. The horse is very even looking. She's using her turn. She's going to come in and get very nice and straight to this. She put in a beautiful four-stride in there without any hesitation at the jumps. You may also notice that they're looking for the style of the jump. The horse should jump in a nice bascule. They should come up through their back, reach forward and square through their front legs, and follow smoothly with their hind legs. So you probably noticed as he went over that he did just that. There's a smooth takeoff, no hesitation, came up through his front legs nice and round over each of the fences, and landed and continued going forward in the same hunt pace that he started in. Let's go ahead and have Melendi Cash Bonus go ahead and do the same thing. As you see, he has a nice, long, free-moving stride. It's very flat and even looking. He also uses his turn, gets very straight to the fence. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful four strides through there. Same nice, very even hunting pace, and very nice round arc over the jump. That's what we're really looking for. Hunters should be very, very smooth. Let's go ahead. I'd like to have Kelsey go ahead and do that again. And we're going to look a little bit at, she was also our Huntsy Over Fences Equitation Champion. We're going to look a little bit at her position here as she goes over the fences. You want to see the hip over the heel. She's staying very quiet here. Eyes stay up. Nice, smooth release. And as she goes over the fence, there's not a lot of movement through her leg. A nice fold at the hip without diving forward too far with her shoulders, just following the horse's movement. That's really what we want to see there. I'd like to go ahead and let's have, if we can, Wintergreen Don Diego go through the line one more time so we can take one more look. Now we've talked a little bit about what we're looking for in the hunters. I'd like you guys to see it one more time.